What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Download Queue, episode 26, your new favorite place for all things Xbox and video games in general. Remember, we record live each and every Sunday, twitch.tv/Badlands Backlogs, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. As always, Amlin Badlands Backlogs with my dear friend Kyle the Fish. How are you?
I'm good. It's hot. It's like 96 in California right now, and I hate it.
Gross.
Summer sucks. I want winter, and I want to move the snow.
You,
But I'm doing good overall.
I will gladly change you because it's like 79 here, and my house without air conditioning is slowly killing me.
Yeah. See, that's different. I have AC, but it's still hot.
It's still hot. And
Because California goes like the energy company says, awesome. You want AC? How cool? But we're gonna make you all turn it to 80 degrees, motherfuckers. So that's it. We got to conserve energy, which I'm for, but maybe turn off the AI companies that are eating all the energy so we don't have to have our houses at 80 degrees because you make it. Anyways, that's just the California rant.
California rant, we love it. Everyone's melting and dying.
Kill AI.
Kill you. Also, for the third time, I believe, correct? Joined by my personal friend, Mr. Tim, also probably roasting down in Texas, of all places.
Oh yeah, no, I heard somebody complaining. I was like, you know what? How hot out is it here in the beautiful city of Houston? And let me tell you, about 92 with like 80% humidity.
You and
We
That's the
were
worst.
we were dripping while mowing the lawn, and not just like a little bit. We're talking like I soaked through a hat and then had like beads of sweat dripping off the bill of my hat today. I did find a giant turtle. Like this thing was straight up 3 pounds in my backyard though, so that was pretty sweet.
What?
Yeah.
jokes, you're mowing your
All
lawn, you
right.
get another big boss.
I'll take humidity if I got a turtle out of it. So
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun. This is my first time living in like swamp, and swamp critters are much friendlier than other ones that I've lived around. So I don't hate it necessarily. You have to worry about cottonmouths, but that's about it,
the more you know.
right?
It's Texas. It's a lawless wasteland down there.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's lawless unless you're queer or a racial minority or, and in which case then you have lots of laws that you weren't aware of. It's real messed up.
Which, there you go. That's what we're talking about today, guys. It's Pride Month. We're here to celebrate. Tim.
Which is why I'm here.
Which is why Tim's here. So yeah, Tim, because I've known you. Kyle's talked to you in the past a little bit. But for the audience, who are you? Give us a little background of who Tim is.
Yeah, so I met Amelint when I was up in North Dakota and managing restaurants in a beautiful little hell together. Um, and I, after living my life in the best way I know how, came to realize that I wanted to get involved with my community. I am married to my husband, and I started getting involved in Pride events and in organizing the LGBTQ and community. And yeah, right now, so things I've done in the past, I was part of the organizing committee in West Texas at Basin Pride, which is the Midland Odessa Pride organization. I was very honored to work with a lot of great individuals out there. I am now in Houston because all things oil and gas lead to Houston. And on top of being a civil engineer for Metro, I am also acting as the secretary for the Houston Bears organization, which the Houston Bears are a gay men's group that is dedicated towards celebrating body styles of all shapes and sizes and raising funds for charities. So we basically throw parties and make money for charities that are doing good things.
We're all about throwing
That's
parties.
me.
That's you. It's good.
Yeah.
You always have been, no more adult sounds dumb, but you've always been in like progressive stuff, trying to do better things. Even at the restaurant, like your mind and thought process was always much higher than the rest of us slaving away, I felt. So,
I tell everybody that I have so much anxiety that I have to plan out how to move this society forward, because if I didn't, it's not going to be a good look. Like That's what it comes down to, which is why I love video games. Like, that's how you and I ended up bonding, right? Because we were sitting there talking, and you're like, wait, you play video games? I'm like, let me tell you about my WoW addiction all through high school. Let me tell you about this random game, League of Legends, that I've played literally since season 2. Like, let me talk with you about Immortals 33 now that you turned me on to. God, that was such a good game. I'm so excited for it.
But yeah, it's sadly with my awkward ass, like that's mostly how I interact with people to begin with. And it makes connections, let me tell you, but it's been nice. It's something we talked about the last time you were on, especially, and on your own podcast you were doing, that like people, I forget you way you worded it back then, but like people come into your life at times for a reason when they're needed. And I told you then, and it's been super nice the past 2 years, especially with everything going on, to like reconnect and be back together for a while. Even though John refuses to play Sea of Thieves with me on the side.
John's my husband. For everybody who
Yes.
hears us reference him and call him out, he is the actual quiet gamer type. I am the talking gamer type.
It's good. And yeah, like I said, you guys, you and Kyle, a couple interactions, both in our fantasy league together. Getting
yeah.
slowly. I'm about to tap out already because this shit's pissing me off, guys.
Wait, I haven't even looked at mine lately. Are we gonna do an
Oh,
impromptu
that's-
update?
Let's do an impromptu update. We're 3 people. This is the most we're
Yeah.
gonna have involved of everyone in it. Since Kyle, we talked
just
about
get to
you.
kick some people.
Yeah, we talked about you dropping out with your or dropping on Destiny 2 expansion last week.
Yeah, I'm bummed about that one, but it's okay. Hey, I got a great expansion, so I'll take the expansion over points, I guess.
Yeah. Which, as I see, for a quick rundown for the 3 of us, Kyle's currently 25 points. Because you have been hit with a whole bunch of not releases this year.
Yeah. That's gonna screw me.
Tim, with only 3 titles, is at 53, because fuck it.
Look, Final Fantasy was always going to do good. That's what it comes down to.
And
That was free.
I have finally, for the time being, taken the lead with a solid 71, which I don't think has happened since the first time I've ran this, like 3-4 years ago, so I will gladly take it while it's available. But it's at a weird time, right? Like, there's not, now that showcase season's over, there's not a lot more to like fill in with new announcements, I feel. Like, now it's digging in deep to indies, to the overlooked stuff, to help make up lost points that you otherwise would have gotten with your Avoweds and Indiana Joneses and things this year.
Okay, wait, but we have to talk about something real quick while we're on the Fantasy League.
Yep.
Who got screwed over by by Veilguard getting announced and releasing this year? Because I'm so excited that that's coming out.
Oh, did someone counter it?
Yeah, somebody counterpicked me on that.
Oh, fuck you. It was, yeah, I'm still, like, when that came out, like, the week before the showcase, that it was like, oh, it's coming out this year. I'm like, there's no way in hell. And then it, like, started being shown, and I'm like, okay, so they went a little more cartoony with it, instead of, like, realistic graphics to help get it out the door sooner. I'm still iffy on it. I still have hope. I'm gonna lose points either way, but I don't think it's gonna be more than, like, 10.
I think that one, it depends, right? Like if the game is horny enough, I think it can break into the 90s, but it really is about just how much are we going to be able to romance literally anything in the game. Give me another Baldur's Gate option. Come on now.
Going for that Baldur's Gate playthrough, you know?
Yep. Exactly. You don't play these games for the actual combat style. You play it so you can flirt with this character. That's the entire point.
Let's see. There's a few looking at this that I'll probably have to go in and change. Because I feel like, Kyle, you deserve points for Hades 2 at this point. Like, that's sitting at a solid 90.
I did put in a drop request for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. That's my official. I'm gonna take that one as the drop, right? And I'm gonna have to make some bids for some games and play the game. But yeah, I mean, Avowed, Towerborn, Star Wars Outlaws I still have, so I'm not out of it. So this isn't it. I'm not out.
No, I don't think you are, and especially with
That mainline 3D Mario platform.
next
I'm still holding out hope, baby.
next year.
No, they're gonna announce it out right now.
Screw
Mario
the new
Galaxy 2 or 3, whatever they're on.
screw the
Odyssey
new
2.
Mario and Luigi RPG game this year. You're getting another 3D.
We lied. It's actually a 3D Mario for some reason. No. Yeah, that one's probably not coming out. So yeah, I'm gonna have to play the game a little bit, but I'm not out of it.
Not out. I will say genuinely, like Star Wars Outlaws, especially with the most recent showing, has like completely made me do a 180 on that game.
Mhm.
From like
It is like it. That's my comeback, right? That it hinges on that, and then it's in reach. If it comes out and flops, if it's in even average, right? I need upwards of 20 points on this.
yeah, it went from oh it's another Ubisoft open world typical by the numbers to like oh shit this is actually kind of interesting. Give me more. I will find time to put it on my shelf and eventually play it in a year or two.
Yeah, I love it. Reminding me of a lot of Red Dead Redemption at points, and I'm like, yes, if you can echo that for me, especially, yeah, I'd be down. So we'll see.
We'll see. Tim, what are you playing? I mean, you mostly League of Legends, but
So
you've been doing
yeah.
the week off thing,
Yep.
weekdays off.
Weekdays off because it turns out that when you are in a high stress environment, playing a game that depends on teamwork is not always the best option when you are super stressed. So those days, I'm finishing my playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 a little bit. And then actually, I've been picking up Hades again and a few roguelites. I've been finding a lot of enjoyment out of those roguelites. And I think that was the Immortals 33 really helped jumpstart me on those again. Man, there is something about the game purposefully wanting you to die and still getting to progress through life. It's like, that's great. I like that mechanic a lot.
Yeah, Kyle, you did a little bit, right? When the beta was open.
Yeah, not enough, but I just hopped in for one run. So I mean, it was cool. I'm intrigued by it. Wish I got more time with it, but yeah,
But it's
I like what they're doing on it. It's interesting.
yeah, it's weird
Is it-
too because like that like it's out this year, but Hades 2 is around the corner, and like how many people are going to take time away from again the known entity thing to jump into new little 33 Immortals trying to break into stuff, especially when that genre just blowing up nonstop anymore with new stuff or every month.
Well, and I think that the smartest thing that they did is they definitely made that game more of a team experience. Like you want a group of 3 in that game in order to fully experience it and to like do the ultimates and do some of the combos that exist and to set up your team. Like it truly does feel like you want a group of 3 and you want to try to keep your group of 3 running together. So there's some nicheness to that. I think part of why I keep going back to League of Legends and I spend so much time with it is because at its core, it is still a social experience, right? Because you're playing with other people. And as long as the other people aren't like super trash human beings, you tend to talk to them and you can have a good time. Um, versus in Immortals 33, like I was getting a little bit of that where it felt like I should be interacting with my teammates and communicating with them. I'm real excited for like discords associated with it and stuff like that. And that takes you away from the Hades 2. Like that's the differentiator because Hades 2 is a solo play experience.
Yeah, it's interesting because the 33 Immortals, especially when they were showcasing it, like it reminded me almost of back in like 2013, 2014, where a bunch of games are trying to do like the Twitch integration stuff into it. Like iDarb comes to mind, or people would be watching like you could like viewers interact with the game, and with the absolute like clusterfuck of 33 Immortals and how many people are running around, I feel like that would almost be something they could expand on in the future or something to like add on. I don't know. Again, I never had time to jump into it, sadly. Didn't have time to jump into the Hades 2 beta. I'm too busy. Too many games. But Hades 2, though, when that comes out, I'm all in. I'm ready. I got my fix with oh, what's the one I just did? Not Death's Door. Little Skull Buddy I talked about a few weeks ago. I forget, sorry.
Nice little death. Have a nice
Have a
death.
nice death. Yes. Yes. That got my fill for the time being. Which I would like release dates for some of these, because now especially that showcase season's done, like I'm ready for my next game to jump into and actually put serious time into. And right now nothing's just grabbing. I'm on the league with Tim, hating life. On the Fallout 76 with Kyle for a little bit. He's too busy Elden Ringing.
And Destiny. And yeah.
Destiny. Is Destiny? Was there a new chapter or something this week? Did that start yet?
Yeah, they do their echoes, so now it's every weekly reset. There's a little more here. I haven't done the week. Wait, it's Sunday. I have done this week. I was like, it's not Tuesday yet. That's where I was this week. I think it's already Tuesday of next week. No, hey, it's still Destiny. Same, but still good. I'm sad Erdtree came out and took the #1 spot of the top rated game in 2024 from Destiny. But Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree looks phenomenal. So I'm still in base game stuff. I'm on my way to fully get to Volcano Manor. I got in it, but now I'm like doing the outside path to kind of level up and help myself. But my capture card keeps freezing, so I keep stopping. But I'm hopping between Elden Ring and Destiny. It's very fun.
It's good. I jumped back in Destiny myself, I think Thursday night for a little bit. Still absolutely no clue what I'm doing. I think
Why do you hop in when don't ask me? Why don't you say, "Hey, Kyle,
because you're doing the new
let's hop
stuff.
in one night."
I'm doing the old
I
stuff.
can still hop in and help you. It's the biggest problem with Destiny 2, and they still haven't solved it. But I'm hoping with the next they'll solve it. It's like onboarding new players is atrocious. It's so difficult. You can't even play the whole Destiny 2 experience because they put it in the vault, the original Destiny 2 campaign. It's you can't play the whole story anymore. It's sad. So it's really hard to get new players in. It's way better if you have someone just kind of pointing you the way. And you just got to do the campaign. You did Beyond Light, right?
Yeah, I'm in I think I'm inside the Traveler right now.
Then you're doing
platforming stuff. And I got to what looked like someone's farmhouse. And I branched off from there, and I just kept dying over and over and being reset, and I got irritated and quickly gave up.
Yeah, it sounds like you went into the Traveler, but you didn't do the campaign, so you were just running around. But maybe you did the campaign.
Who knows? I don't know.
It's fair how it's confusing. I don't think you're in the wrong at all for being lost trying to start Destiny 2 in 2024.
Which is weird, right? Like
100%. It's really unfortunate. But I like, the way they did the Final Shape expansion being the campaign really being designed to be played in, start to finish, right? You're not jumping out of the campaign and going to other planets and doing other stuff like in the past. You're playing it A to Z done, and then it opens up the world. I like that, and I think that's going to be better to get players onboarded. Like you can hop into the campaign, and you can just play through the campaign, and then it will open you up to the world. And then it gets confusing on what to do. So we'll see if whatever their codename Frontiers is, they say they have coming next year, if that's a true Destiny 3, or if they're just going to keep moving on. But I really hope they fix it. Like there's no way to get in as a new player to truly understand it. But I guess that's the meta narrative of being a new Guardian. I don't know. It's silly either way.
That's the thing with all live service stuff, right? Like, you're getting thrown in at some point. It's just Destiny's is more story-driven compared to other things trying to keep you in their ecosystem for long periods of time.
I was like, do we want to talk about the 160 champions with 4 different abilities in League of Legends at this point in time? Like, Dota 2. There's so many different games that do this live service and just have this expansive knowledge that players can't break into.
That's why I've been at this game for 10 plus years now with you, on and off and on, and still have no fucking clue what I'm doing.
it's so funny.
Which makes I feel bad at times because like your group especially higher tier, like in general, ranked or not, higher tier people that can fuck around and have fun without trying and still like carry a team. And then there's me twiddling my thumbs, picking up sticks in the back line, trying to keep up.
You know what we should do is I should get Destiny 2 running on our Xbox and hop in and do some first person shooter with you, because if you want to see somebody who does not know what they're doing at Destiny 2, let me tell you about my abilities in that game.
There we go. We got
Okay,
I'm so bad at first person shooters.
I'm gonna log into your accounts, get you up to like a dungeon ability, and then we're gonna run a dungeon just fresh. That'll be your first experience.
I'm
It'll be
gonna die so many
fantastic.
times.
no
You're
context.
gonna-
No you
Well,
don't need it. It's just start shooting.
You know those memes about like when you're sitting there and you're playing a video game and you're like, I don't know if this person actually understands that they're supposed to shoot something. Yeah, that's me in Destiny 2. I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. I'm looking at, why is something attacking me? I am not leaving you alone. Go away.
That's legitimately been
Ozzy?
me though. Like Destiny 2 is like actually super beautiful. Didn't realize it. And I'm like looking at set pieces and stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm dead. And then it's you can't just restart at the fight half the time, but like put you back to the last checkpoint. Nah.
Yeah, it's it is a beautiful game, and it always has been, and and it's such. I mean, that's why people play it, even when there is no story to it. It was just a really good Bungie game post Halo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been good. So I'm so happy they got great reviews with it. Finally, well deserved. So excited to see where they go.
I'm sitting here and like maybe that turns into my weekday game, because Destiny 2. So when my husband and I first started dating, I'm going to loop this back around to Pride Month now. When we first started dating, he legitimately bought me an Xbox for Christmas so we could play Destiny 2 together, because we were a long distance relationship.
Really?
So yeah, no, like John and I played Destiny 2 together and like bonded over that when we first started dating. That was one of the first things we did together.
Oh
Huh.
my gosh! Well,
It's pretty
you have to finish the journey now.
right?
Doing a
Right?
raid,
The
damn it.
Oh man!
Well, that's like
Oh, that's so cool.
we definitely I fell off when the like shadow people arrived.
Oh,
Which it
Shadow
sounds like
Keep.
that's yep, Shadow Keep. Um and the light was getting snuffed out or whatever that was. But after post that, I haven't touched it again, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like, I bet you like it has cross-platform. You can play with PC and Xbox players, right? Or
Yeah.
is it not?
No, it's cross-platform, cross save. I've played on my PlayStation 5, like because it's free to play as well. So I just don't have
Mhm.
access, but I can play on you can play on your PS5, PC, Xbox, cross-platform. You're playing together. My old group of players, we were Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, all over. At that point, it was also on what was the Blizzard Net launcher, whatever.
Battle.net.
Yeah, BattleNet. It was also on BattleNet. So that's like the best thing about Destiny is it is perfectly cross save and cross platform play. I love it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That all here for that.
Oh god. Kyle's video is on. So yeah, with that, you want wrapping it back to Pride Month, like you said. Going back to
Yeah.
League, does I had this question before. When they like June 1st happens, we get the usual everyone's profile picture turns to rainbows and stuff. The typical company things. The
Mhm.
typical, hey, we're gonna give you a free color shader, new name tag, badge, icon, whatever. When that happens, like for you guys, not as a group, but you and John, like, is that like, does that feel like a thing that's they're doing like get the numbers by checking off boxes, or like does stuff like that actually come across as like genuine?
So I think it matters how free it is and like what they're doing with it, right? So I remember when Rito first did like it's Pride Month and we're going to do Pride Month. Like, I really do. And they were donating to the Trevor Project or some nonprofit. Like, they did it pretty heavily, and it was simultaneous. They were doing an anti-bullying campaign actually, and trying to deal with their community toxicity because that community's been toxic ever since that game dropped.
Ayo.
I swear that game just if you needed to create salt, it would be through the game of League of Legends. Like, there is so much sodium in those mines. It is crazy how it gets. But I remember like this genuine feeling of like, yeah, no, this is a company that actually cares. But I think, and I think that we're seeing it across all different aspects right now because Pride and social unrest is kind of at an all-time high at this point in time. Everybody's kind of backed off on their Pride promotionals or their Juneteenth promotionals or their social justice promotionals because what's happening is younger generations are now looking at these companies and they're saying, okay, so like we see that you're doing this and we really appreciate like the pink washing, which is what you call it when you make something gay or like gay friendly on the surface to like convince people to play your game because you love the queers. But you're not actually changing anything with it. You're not changing your corporate culture. You're not like preventing systemic issues within your organization. You're not really doing anything. You're just giving it a skin. Um, Fun fact for you, Israel's a really good example of this, most pink-washed country out there. But for you could see similar things with other social justice causes. So greenwashing is another thing that happens. I've been in the environmental space before. Companies that are not companies that are not environmentally conscious, like ConocoPhillips and oil and gas operators, will sit there. They'll be like, "We plant a tree for every $100,000 we make, so we planted all these trees. Isn't that great?" And it's like, yeah, but how did you make that money, right? And like, ever since these social justice causes have started asking that question of like, well, how did you do that? There's been less of a return on these companies making those changes to where most of the changes now are like low effort. And let me assure you, I love where Riot's landed with their stuff. They have a happy pride post. Like, that's super free. That's bare minimum. I like that. And I truly enjoy having like a rainbow flag fly out of my character's ass when I log in. If I could have that year round, that would be great. But it doesn't feel really great because at the same time, like, I see that and it feels like I'm sort of seeing, but in the 10 years that they've been doing this and they've been helping this, I still have friends who are struggling and I still have friends who are facing systemic issues. And as long as my friends are facing those systemic issues, I don't really care if those companies are giving me like kudos. So it's like, yeah, it's nice and I appreciate it, but like, we got to deal with this. And almost there's like the separation now between my social or my media consumption or my escapism and how much I care about them doing that. I will say that if a company is an intentional dick about it, like is openly homophobic, I have so many options. There's no reason for me to interact with you. Right. So it's, if you do something that's pride oriented and if you do something that's like designed towards these social movements, great on you. Make sure you're doing it right and be ready to show receipts because we require receipts now for you to get full kudos. But don't be a dickhead. Like, that's really what it comes down to, is like, there's no reason to be transphobic. There's no reason to be homophobic. There's no reason to be racist. There's no reason to propagate stupid tropes throughout this world. There's just, why would you bother doing that? Like, the world we live in is shitty enough. Let's have our escapism be inclusive today. It's not that hard.
No, yeah, that's part of like, I want to say the reason, like the ideologies behind like me starting the site and us doing the podcast and like trying to help make more accepting groups around, because gaming in general, like, since the dawn of time, since online gaming was a thing, terrible place to be 99% of the time.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
having the digital wall in front of you separating you from like people in person has just given people so much, I don't want to say balls, but like not a care in the world of what they're saying or like the actual repercussions of the actions they're doing. And like you said, with the world being how it is now, like it's the time like you get off work, you come home, you have a few hours, you want to sit down, play a game, just relax. And when it's being met on the other side by constant hatred, toxicity shit, like it takes so much away. And even just me, like straight white dude, whatever, like I don't play a lot of online stuff anymore. Like League, yeah, with you guys. But other than that, like I'm just playing single player stuff. I get on Fortnite, everyone's immediately muted. It's just not something I want to deal with anymore personally.
Right. That's like I I think that a lot of people enjoy the idea of being like the best or like being right. And I'm one of those people. I love being right. Jesus, I love being right. You've played League with me. You know how much I love being right.
Tell me
Like
what you did wrong
it
there, please.
yep, exactly. Like I love being right. But the biggest unlock I ever had in terms of my happiness and in my community, like building friends, relationships, and in gaming, was when I realized that sometimes it doesn't matter if I'm right. Sometimes it matters if I made somebody else's day better. And if I can make somebody else's day better, I'm going to try to make that decision because I get really good warm fuzzies from that. And we'll just go that route instead. Like I don't have to be right. You could be right. Does that make everybody? Yeah, that makes everybody's day better. Let's go that route.
It's it's weird because like with gaming too, on the other side, like development side, like the way things are designed anymore. Like yeah, we have programs in place or like reporting where to handle an action and ban people and this and that, but like there's so many things even nowadays for that to get around or bypass that people don't really care. And there's not like any extreme actions people could take against the negative side of things because it just blows up into like a media shitstorm of XYZ company is some like leftist liberal bullshit thing and like it's just weird because people designing these games like I think there's something what article I read I'll have to find it again like 30% of the industry LGBTQ plus like large chunk of people designing this shit are personal representations of that either character type or whatever that people like focus in on and use for like ammunition for online fights and whatever. So there's just a weird impasse I feel of the two sides not meeting and no one really being able to like pull the plug to fix the issue.
Yeah. Well, that's like it turns out that when you live in a world where you're not liked about because of something that you can't change about yourself, and a lot of people have tried to change about themselves, be it where you grew up, how you grew up, um, who you love, the color of your skin, like these things that we just can't change because of how we are and who we are, we like escapism, right? Because it's a chance for us to not be in this world where we didn't make any of these decisions and insert myself into an actual equitable world, into a world that is designed for me to be able to succeed, which is not the case of where we live right now. And to, it makes sense to me that these minority groups gravitate towards video games. That's why I gravitated towards video games. Are you kidding me? Like 100%. The video game had rules that I could interact with and figure out. That's 100% how I started playing video games, and part of why I've gone back to single player games on the weekdays because I just don't want to have to think about the random stuff that I have to interact with. And I want to know that when I hit the A button, I'm going to swing a sword. And if that sword hits the thing explodes and I get a resource. Like, that's what I want to do. It I mean, swinging swords in modern day, please don't do that. That's bad. That's not a good way to solve issues. But like anybody who has sent an email with the intention of like having something go a certain way in their office to only have that turn into like 6 meetings down the road, and you're like, I have no idea how we even got here today. And the answer is life. Like video games make sense for those people, and that's how it is.
It's. I think back, and you even joke about it with me sometimes, like when we're playing League, I'll say some shit to get a giggle. Like, nothing like degeneracy, but like, I think back of like the 360 days of stuff and playing online then. That shit was wild. Like, you see the memes like, oh, if they ever like brought back those voice logs, like people would be in prison. Seriously, though. Like, it was not a good place or time to be. People should be in jail.
So, League of Legends, and the salt mine that it is, actually has one of the best player reform stories ever in their pro scene, and nobody talks about this nearly enough. Um, so Jensen, who plays for, he was on FlyQuest, he's not anymore. I don't know which team he landed on now because I haven't followed the LCS close enough. But Jensen, who has played for Cloud9, who and was part of their squad that made it to semis in the World Finals. He's one of the best mid laners in the world, arguably at the same level as Bjergsen and Perks. Easily, maybe not at the height of Perks and Cap's careers, but like baseline, he's definitely one of the top players in the world. He was banned from League of Legends for toxicity at one point.
That's genuinely
And
surprising.
no, and it's because so in 2010, do you remember the old insult of like, I hope your parents get cancer, or I hope somebody you care about dies of cancer?
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah, he was the progenitor of that. That was his go-to saying, and he was a popular streamer in League of Legends who would regularly say that to his opponents. Like 100%, you can credit that to him in pop culture.
Do the Google search for search activity and it just spikes.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. And he got banned from League. He loved League, and he would play even though he was banned because there's workarounds, right? And he steadily would build up and build up and build up, and then he would get banned again. And his ban would be longer because he wasn't supposed to be playing League while he was banned. And there was this circle going on with it, but eventually, like, he came to the realization, or the story that has been pitched is he came to the realization that like it was more important for him to want to play League and be better at League, and he really wanted to do that, and he realized that those words weren't making anything better, and he wanted to change that behavior. He did. As far as I know, he hasn't had any lapses. I mean, he did just get kicked off, or he is no longer part of FlyQuest. I don't know the circumstances of him leaving that team after they had a poor showing at a international event, but they took second in the LCS and they just still changed their roster, which tells me that that org is driven for international competition, and I'm here for that. Anyways, but Jensen as a player, I don't think that there's any doubt in anybody's mind that he is a big part of the North American professional League of Legends scene, that he is somebody who should be celebrated. And he definitely had to have some level of reform, because you can't play against people like Faker and be toxic like that with your teammates. Like, could you imagine playing against literally the person who is the best at the video game that you're currently playing and turning to your teammate to be like, you're trash, like, dude, you're getting dumpstered by the best in the world right now, and it's not close.
They're not going to put that on his little thing they have in the store right now of going through Faker's history.
Right, like, it's a wild thing. But yeah, sorry, that little bit of a tangent there on toxicity and making the world better. And that's, I think that especially in the gaming space, it is also the place where a lot of people interact with different minorities for the first time, right? Because how many people know a gay person who are
That's it.
like genuine
I was
video
like,
games?
this is exactly what I was gonna go. I haven't. This has been fascinating to listen to. But earlier you were saying like a lot of games are an ability to allow us to escape from our reality, right? Whether it good or bad. Like turning on Madden for me and sitting down was relaxing after a day of work and just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm playing as the Raiders, cool, all right, I won, bye, go to bed. Simple, right? And then it's escaping just stressful days too and all the other shit that people have to deal with. But it also is an ability for other people to be exposed to different things that they have never been exposed to, different cultures, different ideologies and such. So I think what is kind of, I want to kind of move into that realm of, I think we were heading there naturally, is are games good at that? Because like you said, I think Jacob, the stat was 30% game devs, and I don't know what that came from, but
I
identify
think
as
it was the
LGBTQ.
Guardian, if I remember.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, so is that just that's reflective of the world, right? So it's a select minority, going back into toxicity real quick. It's like the loud minority is just super angry about it. It's like, why are we boosting up these things? It's time just to ignore them. You know, let it all settle itself. They're gonna put their foot in their mouth eventually if we let them yell to the void long enough, right? But we gotta stop boosting the negativity. It sucks to hear, it sucks to deal with, but we gotta like come together, and whatever group you're in, whatever community you're in, go to your group and handle it how you need to, heal how you need to, if that's the case. But damn, just reposting the shit and being like, yeah, you see what they said, it just boosts it, because unfortunately social media and that like negativity generates money, and they don't care if people are like, that's not nice, because they're making money off of it either way, and we just stop interacting with it. It's awful either way.
Which that's
I would.
yeah, for you and me, Kyle, especially, like we're both fairly me more than you, but active on Twitter, like, and especially around like even just fanboy console war bullshit. The amount of like popular pages that are purely there for rage posts and rage bait and just lighting a flame under the littlest fucking issue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like you said, that's how they grow. Like they literally have their entire persona online, their company, whatever, their brand based off of that. When
Yeah, and
there's so many other things to focus on.
yeah, and it's like some make great content still. Some put in the work, and that's awesome, cool. Not saying you don't work hard or say that, but what you're saying, just what I love, that whole story that you told. I didn't hear that about. Obviously, I don't know League of Legends, so that was cool to learn. But the whole, what did he realize? Can you repeat that? I just want to get it right.
I think it was I think that the way that they told the story was that they realized that so it's Jensen now. I can't remember his name prior to being Jensen because it was a full rebranding for him.
Makes sense.
But for Jensen, League of Legends and being good and getting to play at League of Legends was more important than him getting to vent his frustrations at the people. And that's that's how you described it. He's like I was just an angry man, and like I had to figure that out, and I had to take care of that for me to be better at League of Legends. Like it was literally me learning how to process my emotions as a healthy adult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Hold on. Well, that's like it was such a wild thing because especially the fact that he played 3 or 4 accounts up to Challenger. Like he would get banned and he would replay up to Challenger. That's how consistent he was.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because so it's like I'd rather get better at the game, right? And I think what you said earlier was what he was saying wasn't even making anything better, right? Like it was only causing harm. Like saying, I hope your parents get cancer. Like that doesn't make anything better at the end of the day, too. I want to be better at this game. I'm saying things that don't even it doesn't do anything good at all. Who cares? I'll just stop saying it and get better at the game. If that is the base level, that's still fucked up, but that's fine. Like shit. Like it's bizarre that people hear other people say like, "Hey, that hurts, our feelings. That makes us feel bad. Like that's actually offensive. You shouldn't say that. Can you not say those things?" And they're like, "No, fuck you." And it's like, what? Like, what? Like, what? Who cares? Like, just be respectful. Like, right? It just we can't even people can't even meet that baseline, and that's pretty insane. But
Two of the best things I ever learned was like, hey, you don't have to hit send on the message that you typed out. Like, you took the time to type it, sit there and read it, take just a half a beat and read the words that you're typing. Is that something you want somebody else to read? Is that something you would want to read if you were that other person? Like that genuine empathy? And that's so looping back to video games and are they a good way for exposure? I think that gaming is one of the best ways to build empathy in the entire world. And there are studies showing, I'm also a giant D&D nerd. Holy cow, I love role-playing games. People who play role-playing games develop empathy. Like that is what that does for the human brain and for the human consciousness. You learn to put yourself in other people's shoes. And so I do think that gaming is a really, really strong vehicle if you want to communicate certain ideas and certain social justice issues. Like we were talking about our fantasy league earlier. Can we just talk about how Final Fantasy VII you're playing as an environmental terrorist?
Yeah, which especially then back in the '90s doing that. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, like straight up. Like,
but games are woke now. Like we just made games woke this year.
Yeah.
right. No, like magically games are woke. You have an environmental terrorist. I'm trying to think of like how many times I've fought like the big bad is just a racist Nazi. Like
Yeah.
it's like specifically a Nazi. Like that was actually what they were calling them, or is signifying with the swastika. Like it was absolutely wild. I'm probably gonna get your chat banned by saying these words, or
No, you're
your
fine.
channel in trouble. I'm sorry. But the fact that gaming is so effective at taking you from whatever position in society you hold, and let's be honest, a lot of gamers have a very privileged existence. The ability to game in and of itself is a level of privilege, right?
Expensive hobby.
It is a very expensive hobby. And like I'm the fact that it is an opportunity for us to learn more about other people's experiences is so great. And it doesn't always have to be over the top or like kind of like crazy weird. I'm trying to think of like examples of video games that did it really softly.
Softly for
Like post-apocalyptic games, I think are one of my favorite ones, where they start talking about like, oh, this is how the world kind of got destroyed. This is what that looked like. Or zombie games, zombie survival games, I hold are the best games to remind you that at the end of the day, the only thing that human beings have are other human beings. The Last of Us, great example of that. Like, how are you supposed to survive in a zombie apocalypse if it's just you going Rambo? It doesn't work out. You need to work with other people. You need to build up around you. We as a as a species, human beings as a species, are designed to live in community and to operate as a community. So learn how to be nice with other humans. And online spaces are great for that, because like at the end of the day, if I'm a complete and utter jerk to somebody online, I'm probably not going to interact with them again, right? And that's like why people are jerks to those people online, because they're like, let me get my venting out. But truthfully, so you have a really bad social interaction, you never meet them again. But if instead you sit there and you're like, maybe I should do different, maybe I should change my behavior, maybe I should grow from that experience and try to do something just a little bit different next time, and then you try that other thing and it turns out that being kind to the individual was a much more effective route. Like, look at that. Now you know this is how we do that. It's a great way for people like myself, who, in all honesty, grew up pretty emotionally stunted, to develop those skills. But you got to try.
It's I feel like that specifically, like the games me and Kyle talked about it a few weeks ago with Hellblade 2. Like games being more than just being a game, being a toy, being like works of art and like giving and driving messages across. That's very much in the camp of like gaming in general still is kind of the black sheep of things. Any sort of violence in public, oh, this person played games, that's why. Games ruining the youth, that's why. This is the cause of our issues. So a lot of people, like Kyle said, like, games just turned woke finally. Like, no, it's been a thing, it's just you have new terminology for it now. It's always been the scapegoat people have fallen back to because it's something the wider majority slash the olds in media don't truly understand, right?
Well, and it's wild to me that, like, if I turn to my coworkers and I say I play video games for 8 hours this weekend, they're going to give me the side eye, right? Like, that's just the way that goes. But if I turn to them and I say I binged Netflix, oh, what series did you watch? Da 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 da. It's like, come on, y'all! Like, let me tell you about this storyline. Like, oh.
Yeah, and I think that is like there's like a huge divide, I think, between people who understand games and don't, and then but they're on now their phones or watching reality TV and they don't see the difference. Like these games teach critical thinking in a lot of insane ways. They teach communication skills, teamwork, and all that stuff. Like a Destiny raid, if you're not talking or if you're being a dick, you're gonna get booted very fast because you need to work together, right? It's games teach that if you want to be a part of it, you have to engage with those systems and you have to be more positive. Unfortunately, people love the negativity and hey, we'll do all the stuff, we'll work together and be negative. It's like, fuck off. But it's still, hey, they're still communicating, they're still talking to each other, they're still learning. Like, I was a program director of a camp. We worked with middle school kids mostly. Like, they would come in, we'd be in outdoor education, so we'd go on hikes and like teach about natural sciences and such out in a national forest. So they would come here and be like, "Can we go on the Xbox now? Like, where you guys do you even play that?" Like, yeah, I play Fortnite, you idiots. Like, I haven't said it's. Sometimes I said it, called them names and they love it. Like, middle school boys are so easy to entertain, which is very funny given online discourse, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like they're like, "Oh, could you do this?" Like, yeah, we could play Fortnite. You guys like, "Oh, really?" But when you get them talking about it and the building, like the thinking kids are doing in this stuff is insane. I mean, you watch someone build in Fortnite mode. Holy shit. What the hell are they doing? It's impressive. And then they could most likely explain to you exactly how to do it. That is like, isn't that a math problem? Build a thing and now explain how you do that. Like, sure, you're pressing buttons, but those skills are there. Now, how can we expand upon that going forward, right? This is more education than representation there, but I just think it goes like games are not just silly shooty, like I'm shooting my friends in Call of Duty, I'm shooting up hookers in Grand Theft Auto now, haha. It's like, no, but those even tell, that's satire, you idiots. You guys say Grand Theft Auto is bad for the youth, and then you're doing the things in real life you're doing in Grand Theft Auto. Like sometimes, which is, it's making fun of you guys. Games are just so much more than just the negative, and they're educational and they can teach you about different experiences like representation, it you get to walk in other people's shoes literally.
So the prime example, I think, of the other side that's not like the educational side, Kyle, still to this day, and it's now 12, 13 years old, is Journey, I feel. It was, hey, you're this character. Sometimes you see other people around. You can't actually communicate, but you're going through the game with these random other entities, beings that look just like you. and you don't really realize it's other people till the end. Credits hit, and then part of the credits is everyone's tag that you experienced this game with, whether you knew it or not. And it was a moment and an experience that you shared with people around the fucking world that you didn't actually have communication with, but you still experienced this one thing together at the same time. Barriers, races, religions, whatever language you spoke out the window. And it's nothing you realize till after you get through the end of it.
That's cool. It's also like Death Stranding, being a little more designed, not. I mean, yeah, it was about connections too. So that's cool.
That like it's so wild to me that the especially I think that the trend in gaming, there's a lot of discussion now about like, oh, how do you build a game, how do you make a game profitable, right? Like, do you go the microtransaction route, do you go this route, do you do like a live service route, what how do we make games profitable again? And I think that the one, just make a good game. Like Larian Studios, hats off to you, thank you for making Baldur's Gate 3 and showing people that if you make a good game, you will
Build
make
with
money.
smut.
It's okay. Yes, yes, I will give you there is smut, but also you cannot deny that that game is good.
Yeah.
Like really a great game. Um, but the other thing is like there's also other good games out there. There's Destiny, there's all these things where it's about enabling those connections, enabling lifelong friendships. I My very first community organizing thing that I did, well, okay, there's a couple of times that I organized prior to it. I've always been the guy that was like, hey, we should all band together and tell the teachers what we have to do in school. Outside of that realm, um, was actually operating a WoW guild. Like you were talking about raids. I operated a WoW guild for 2 years with friends. And I was 17 years old.
Which back in the day, that was a 40-person raid initially.
Yeah, no, it was and like I wasn't in charge of the mechanics or anything about like that. I was literally in charge of scheduling. And then also to the surprise of not definitely not Jocko, um, like I was in charge of smoothing over hurt feelings during the raid. Like somebody's popping off, somebody had a bad day. Hey man, it sounds like you're having a rough go of it. What's up? How can we help? Let's focus on how we play this out. Like that's what I brought to the group and why I was in charge position, because there's plenty of people at the time who played WoW and were really good at WoW. And we had lots of really good players in the guild, but they couldn't necessarily work together without that little bit of smoothing over. Got to sand down those edges a little bit.
Yeah, it's not. Like I said, and all the experiences aren't completely bad. Like me and Kyle, we've less than what 6, 7 months now, just knowing each other. We're doing a show weekly now, playing games, hanging out, building friendship. My two closest friends in the world I met on GTA 4 back in the day. I've since flown out to see them, vice versa. I'm flying back out there in 2 months to go watch SummerSlam with them. Like, the pieces are there for connections. It's just that one side of things with people not wanting to be fully accepting of things they don't understand, I guess.
And they're
Right.
mostly dumb idiots who are not who don't know how to be vulnerable. And they're just projecting that. Or they just don't care and they've never been exposed to it and they find validity in other people that share those thoughts. That doesn't make it justified. But when it's their only viewpoint, man, they are firm in their beliefs, right? Because it's all you know. You're going to tell me you're wrong. I'm wrong. It's so hard. And it begins with just, God, we got to talk more, have conversations, and be vulnerable, you know?
Right. Like I think the hardest thing, and this is always there's always this onerous of like, okay, so who gets to be vulnerable first? And the thing that I will always stand by is if I am not able to be vulnerable, in particular when it comes to like queer issues, because that is the community that I am a part of and I spend most of my time advocating for, right? If I am unable to be vulnerable at that time, it is my job as a member of the community to recognize that about myself, remove myself, and protect myself. Like, that's my job as a human being because I can only control my own actions. But I truly believe, as somebody who is a part of that community with the resources that I do and the education and like it's the whole Spider-Man thing with great ability comes great responsibility. It is my job to sit there and turn to somebody and be like, all right, let's take a beat. I'm human, you're human. Let's talk. Let's see what you're thinking is going on here. Let's go. Because no one person is going to be the one that convinces somebody to not be a jerk. It is a series of interactions that steadily leads them to the path of realizing that humans are humans and humans are humans are humans, and you probably will have a better life. Well, I think you'll have a better life if you accept that letting humans be human is the best option. And maybe they aren't into the same stuff as you. That's fine. That's not going to hurt you. I mean, within reason.
Yeah.
There's tragedy of the commons and all sorts of other social economic stuff. But like in terms of video games, especially, go have fun. We'll figure it out.
Yes, humans are humans. The aliens are showing up soon. All right. Like
We need to
where
band
universe
together.
is getting bigger and bigger every day. All right. So can we realize that we're all one thing, one people before then?
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
but
The
yeah, but
the theory that like when human beings finally stop killing each other, that's when the aliens will actually contact us. Like, I'm here for that.
they're
It's
just
not
like, you
happening in my
finally,
lifetime.
they all clap. It's like, yay, you grew up. Oh, we love when kids grow up. You're a
Couple
toddler now,
hundred years too
humans.
late, but
Giant orbs in the sky, just abstract shapes.
Show up
Uh,
randomly. So I operated in very conservative evangelical culty spaces at one point in time in my life.
I've dealt
Um,
with those
we're
personally in
we're
a
getting one this
evangelical
year.
nonprofit.
and that like one of the wildest things I ever heard was definitely the theory of like we could decide when the apocalypse occurred if we preached to enough people.
Hmm.
And I was just like,
Hmm.
oh,
I
we're
mean,
running.
Dune. Look, Dune didn't isn't based off nothing. All right, like
Oh, we're
religious.
going. Talking
Yeah.
about, dude, sorry, you have triggered my trap card.
Oh
I know
no,
a little bit. You triggered my trap card. Did
I
you
have a
know
counter. I don't know how card games work. Oh
that
wait, Uno reverse. There it is.
Uno reverse, dude, was part of a competition with the creator of Scientology?
What?
Yeah! No, so the guy who wrote the base text for Scientology was good friends with the author for Dune. And bet the author of Dune, because they were both science fiction writers, he was like, I bet you I can make a religion out of my book.
That's
Huh.
some five head meta level gameplay there.
It's so wild. But I love Dune. Like, it's one of my favorite science fiction novels. It's a great political thriller, all this stuff. And partially because, like, Paula is not a good person. If you think that Paula is a good person, you reread the book, rewatch the movies. You should not be siding with him. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
spoilers. It's been out long enough. The like the way that story developed was A+. Love that. Really good example of socioeconomic stuff. Because like that, oh man, yeah, that book was wild. And like wild in ways that they couldn't put it on screen. Wild.
Oh yeah, yeah. I gotta read the next one. I read Dune. I think it's Children of Dune.
Yep, Children of Dune, and
Yeah.
then Messiah is
Yeah.
the third one
Especially
in the
since it seems
trilogy.
like, I mean, it seems like we're getting those movies. Might as well read them.
Oh yeah, no, definitely worth a quick read.
Here's another
Quick,
tangent.
We're all about tangents here, though. We love them. It keeps the
they're
thing
great.
keeps the pace. We're on a 3-week tangent nonstop of Master Cheeks back in the day, Kyle. Uh,
Oh,
never forget. But with
I'm
that,
really curious about Master Cheeks.
it was when I began watching the Halo TV series, and he was getting freaky. Something I didn't need to see, but there was lots of ass.
yeah. Oh my. No season 3 announced, and I don't think we ever will get one.
For the better.
Yeah. Oh, it's for the better, 100%. I didn't, especially when you have shows like Fallout, Last of Us, even Twisted Metal. Like they were just so much more fun, to say the least, right? Than Halo. Like, come on.
Arcane.
Yeah, Arcade. Yeah. Oh, see, that's
Oh my
even levels
gosh.
above everything else. Maybe not levels above Fallout. They're pretty top tier for what they are. But yeah.
I don't know which one I like more between Fallout and Arcane. Both of those were such good series. I
Yeah,
really loved Arcane, but that's the League player in me coming out.
I loved Arcane, and I never played League. That's what's so funny. Oh
Mhm.
man, I love that show. Like I would rewatch both of them. That's how I know if I like it or not. It's like when I rewatch it, it's like yeah, I would rewatch both. They're right there for me.
They were so good.
Okay. With that, I feel, unless you guys want to bring up anything else, we will call that a wrap, I believe. Tim, thank you for
No,
hanging out again, as always. Third time. Always welcome back. I know you're busy with real life stuff and actually making a difference in things, but
and making dinner.
and making dinner.
Making dinner. No, but that was multitasking is great. Just love hanging out with people and talking about video games. Quick shout out Immortals 33 if you like roguelites and you want something that you could play with two of your friends, like 10 out of 10 recommend that one. And then just do what we mentioned, like how does that feel? Does it feel genuine? All that stuff. To anybody who is part of any community, like play the game that makes you happy. And as somebody who went to a pride pool party filled with a ton of gay men yesterday, all of us in Speedos, they still ordered a tray of Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets for their catering at that event. So, like, if they could do it at that event, you can probably consume your slightly questionable material as long as you're aware of what you're doing and you're protecting your morals and values that you want to operate by. Like, do what gets you by on the next day. Come on, it's all right.
It's good.
Hmm, hmm.
I do have to ask real quick, Tim. Did you order that liquor for your party in 3 months yet?
Oh my, stop.
Kyle,
Little shit.
what do you got going on this week? Anything you want to shout out before we head out?
Yeah, gonna be going with Elden Ring. Hopefully, still going on, but we'll be going back into content. Gonna be doing a fundraiser going all of July for a
Ooh.
fun little thing. So keep the ear out for that, eyes and ears out for that. But that'll be fun. Gonna try to raise the money. And wrestling, dude. Wyatt Six. I don't know. AEW is dumb as fuck. I just want to say that.
Whoa!
I just drive by right there. They posted a
Whoa!
tweet. It was AEW on TV, so I will. It's not their AEW account, but they said that look up the clip. It's holy shit, and the clip is just two men doing ring around the rosy. Like there it is. But anyways, damn Wyatt Six. I thought, oh damn wrestling. Oh boy, I can't wait for tomorrow, Monday, as we're recording. It's Sunday, so I'm like, that's what I'm super super excited for right now outside of games, and I can't wait to see if it falls flat once they get in the ring.
That's what I've been worried about.
Yeah.
They need
Oh,
to
yeah.
make them
It's
so strong and don't mess that up.
yeah. We're gonna learn. They said they'll be here. But damn, I mean, for a story, real cool.
I'm happy you brought that up. I need to send you a clip Tim sent me before earlier today of a wrestling show with a bunch of current AEW wrestlers. Perfect.
Oh my
Best
gosh.
video. Best video I've ever seen.
Oh god. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, on my end, I think just get back into streaming. I did find time last week to jump into Metal Slug Tactics on Steam Next Fest because we talked about it. Super solid. Super excited for that game to come out. Very weird twists on the tactic turn-based genre. This week, I believe I will be starting Chance of Sonar. Finally,
Oh, good.
singled out a title to get back into the swing of things. Life's slowly looking up day by day, so I'm getting back in the schedule. And quick shout out for Pride Month. Shout out on Game Pass, Thirsty Suitors. Check that out. Very great across the board representation, Kyle. I know you checked it out. I did a full playthrough on Twitch. Essentially a weird take on Scott Pilgrim to a point. A lot of representation from different races, trans community, gay community, just across the board. Game is very solid this year. Check it out. Give it some love. Studio deserves it. And we will be back next Sunday, same time. Me and Kyle catch up on stuff. Whatever's happening in the gaming world. Hopefully things are back to normal. Enough time has passed from showcase season. So,
Why did you say something?
What?
Xbox is gonna buy Nintendo. It's happening.
Spoilers. Mario and Luigi coming on Xbox. Jokes.
Let's go.
Let's go. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys next week. Happy gaming.